You're sitting on a $100,000 asset and acting like it's nothing. Would you like to know what it is? And more importantly, do you want to have it?
Welcome to the show. Tired of the hype about living the dream? It's time for truth. This is the place for tools, power, and real talk so you can create the life you dream and deserve. Your ultimate life. Subscribe, share, create. You have infinite power.
Welcome to Your Ultimate Life, the podcast created to help you build a life of purpose, prosperity, and joy, and not by working extra hours or beating yourself to death or doing anything you don't like, but doing the things you love the most, doing things that are in your heart that come right out of your life. Now, you, like me, have heard a million times that your life experience is worth something. Well, go to a university. Every university, especially the newer ones, will absolutely consider your life experience for a degree, even an advanced degree, master's degree, and so forth. They consider that. Why? Because everybody now finally is willing to acknowledge that your experience, whether it's in a company or as a solopreneur or a small business or whatever it is, or even your life experience, is worth something. And frankly, the more people learn about it, the more value is being placed on that. So we have some real world examples. Now, what I meant about your $100,000 asset is this. When I write a book, I launch a path to create $100,000. I have developed a powerful system to do that. I want to share it with you. Why? Because I know something, and it comes from, guess what? My life experience. I know the most valuable thing that I've got and that you've got is the story of your own becoming. And that's a fancy way of saying, how did you get where you are? Like, what are the things that happened to you, with you, for you, around you, that maybe were accidents, maybe were illness, maybe others did something, whatever it is. What were those things that happened that you got past because you're still here and still breathing? Now, sometimes things that happen, they ruin us, right? And they ruin us for a day, a week, a month, a year, a decade, or longer. And if we choose, they can then refine us. But that's an intentional choice, because you can have stuff happen and you can, quote, get over it, but it doesn't really refine you unless you make a conscious choice to ask the questions like, what is the gift here? What can I learn? How can I serve with this? What's the real blessing here? And those kind of questions that seem weird at first. So here's the $100,000 asset, your story. I don't care where you were born. I don't care what kind of life you've lived. I don't care if you said, well, I had great parents. I didn't have a rough upbringing. I haven't had a life-threatening illness. I haven't had a near-death experience. I haven't had bankruptcy. I haven't failed in my business. I haven't done any of those things. And so obviously I have jack. That is the furthest thing from the truth. It is the furthest thing from the truth. I know I'm repeating myself. It's not an echo. Your story matters no matter what it is. The path that you have taken to get where you are is a blueprint for someone else. You can help people overcome challenges, get past setbacks, learn from trials, choose to face life as a gift instead of a trial, even recognize that grumpy crap that happens to us all is a blessing. Now, you can do that if you want to. If you have no desire to serve in that way, then this isn't for you. But almost without exception, in fact, I'm sitting here thinking, I can't really think of any, but I'm going to say almost just because, without exception, anyone that's lived a few decades says, when I get to talk to them, and I talk to at least 10, 20 people a week, brand new. Why? Because I set up I belong to some networking things, some masterminds, and we are encouraged to get to know, and I love getting to know people, and that includes you. So here's your first invitation right here, yourultimatelifepodcast.com contact form. I want you to contact me. 3 reasons. 1, do you have a story to share? I'd love to have you as a guest, because my platform here is also a megaphone for others. an amplifier, an elevator to get you out of obscurity, to spread your message, to let people hear and understand what you have learned. Okay, so that's one reason. The second one is if you want help, because I have walked this path not only for myself, but now with many, many clients who I have helped discover what their story is, discover what their life passion is that gets them so committed they can't hardly wait to get up every day, and turn that into hard, cold cash. And not that I worship cash. It's certainly not the most important. My faith, my family, other things. It is on the first hand, but it's not first. But we need it, and you need it for a couple of reasons. We need it to get by in the world, but if you really want to make an impact, you got to gather the resources. You need to have the influence, the reach, and that's not difficult to do. It's easier today than it's ever been. Why? Because we've got digital media. I can make a video here in this podcast and thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people hear it. Okay, and social media reaches all over the world. Now, lots of social media is negative and contaminated, but there are still powerful ways to use it, and alternative platforms, Medium, Substack, and so forth, that aren't so much, vitriol. So there's powerful ways. So you're sitting on a $100,000 asset. The question you need to ask yourself is, do you want to do anything with it, or you just want to sit on it? I didn't know what I'm teaching you now until I was 52. 53, 54. And that was some years ago. I'm 70 right now. I'll be 71 later this year. I didn't know what I'm telling you right now until 20 years ago, 19 years ago. I didn't. And now I'm like, oh, wow, what a gift, what a blessing. And when I first started down this road of personal development and getting to be a coach and all that stuff, I heard people at conferences all the time. I would go to Brenda Burchard's conferences, and others that would say, oh, your story, your life experience is so important. And you know what I thought sitting in the audience? Screw you. You don't know what you're talking about. Whatever. And I have finally realized they were right. It just took me the long road to figure out how they were right and to do something with it. I got all the shortcuts because I took the long way. So here's your $100,000 asset, your story, what you have lived and what you have learned and who you are now, what you have become with your yearning to serve. And the knowledge you have, you can help people. I don't know what your particular passion or field is, relationships with teenagers, with kids, illness, cancer, wellness. I talked to a guy yesterday who has such powerful wellness tools, and he got them in the most unusual way. He was a martial artist and a special kind in Indonesia, running over volcanic mountains barefoot and et cetera, just on and on. And because of that, he's developed all these protocols that return or bring you back to health. I'm excited to have met him. He's going to be on my shows. Look for him pretty soon. So first invitation, if you got a message you want to share, that's first. Second, if you don't, and you want to figure out what your message is and turn it into a $100,000 asset, get a hold of me, because I can show you how to do that, and I'm dying to show you, or living to show you. Love doing it. Third, if you know someone else who has a story and you're thinking they should write a book or they should do something, put them in contact with me. This is the passion that I have. My commitment is to reach 300 million people, to teach you and them your own personal worth, your identity as a divine being, your possibility, which is infinite, even in this world today, your ownership of your life and your sovereignty, WIPOS, WIPOS, or however you would pronounce it. I want to help you do that. All right, so if you don't use your own personal story, the story of your becoming, you're leaving money on the table. You're leaving meaning on the table. You're leaving impact on the table. And maybe you don't care, but I'll bet you do. I'll bet you do. I'll bet it matters to you. And if you want the most strategic way to make money, impact, and meaning, let's talk. All right, so let's talk about why. Here, I said in the beginning, you're sitting on a $100,000 asset and you're treating it like nothing. Well, I already told you it's your story. And this might have sounded weird because you're thinking, I'm not special. I thought that the first 200 times I heard this. I thought, I don't have anything unique. I don't have anything, I got nothing. And when I would hear powerful speakers using their stories in their talks, I remember saying, well, I could do that too because I was an accomplished public speaker, which I can help you learn also because I teach that as well. But I remember hearing that and say, I could do that if I had a story like that, but me, I got nothing. Oh, I said that out loud, vigorously, angrily, because I felt like they were blessed specially and I got left out. Not true. Now, the other thing you might think is, yeah, everybody's been through stuff. That's true. The first two, I'm not special, not true. I don't have anything unique, not true. Third thing, everybody's been through stuff, true. And you and your journey with the stuff is unique, special, and powerful. Not for everyone on the planet, but for a group of people, maybe a few million in number, who need to hear your version of growth, who need to understand what you have done, just the way you've done it in your voice. Now, here's another thing. You're not getting paid for being special. You're getting paid for being clear. Let me tell you something. I cannot tell you the number of people that I talk to about story and about this very thing. And here's what they say. I want to help people. How do you help people? I help them get out of their own way. I help them, get their blocks out of the way and get past their barriers and blocks. Tell me how. And they cannot tell me. Well, it depends on the person. And they give this long roundabout explanation. There is no clarity. Clarity is what we need. I need it and you need it if we're going to cut through the noise and be a category of one. You are a category of one, but I'll bet you have not claimed it. I'll bet you have not described it. I'll bet you your message isn't clear and powerful and specific. If it's not, you got nothing. That's why I said I can help you do that. And it's my favorite thing in the world to do. Why? Because you are, in fact, special. But nobody's going to know until you get clear. Clarity creates connection. If you see someone and you hear what they have to say and it resonates powerfully with something in your life, there's a connection. If you can't understand what they're telling you or the situations they're describing, there's no connection. So clarity creates connection. Connection then goes to trust, and trust goes to income, cash, because then they trust your word, your teachings, and your examples. It is as inevitable as the sun rising in the morning. All right, so what is your story actually? So sometimes people say, well, I don't want to write a memoir. Or they say, I've already written a memoir. I don't want that. That's not what it is. A memoir is usually chronological, not necessarily, but it's usually a chronological recitation of your life, maybe not all of it, but certain events in your life. What happened, how horrible the people or situation was, what you did, how you got past it, maybe well, maybe not, maybe it took 10 years or 20, and then you just keep on with the story. And when you get done, you understand what that person went through across the arc of their life. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with telling that. If you want to write a memoir, go ahead, but it's not what I mean for $100,000. What I mean is, see what happens with the memoir, you understand what happened to them and what they did, and then it's up to you or me to build the bridge, if there's one to be built, between what they did or said or suffered or struggled or did and me. I have to think about it and say, wow, I wonder if that could apply to me. I wonder if that means something for me. And then I have to build that bridge. Memoirs don't do very well with that. Okay, they don't build any bridges. And quite frankly, most people don't and won't take the time to try to understand how that situation applies to me. They don't do it. We live in a download and double click world where everything's fast. Got to be right now. It's got to be clear. If it's hard, I'll come back to it later. Maybe it's like, I know there's good stuff in here somewhere. I'll come back later. And maybe you do in 6 months or a year or 2 or 5 or never. And it never does the value for you. What I'm talking about is using the events of your life, some of the same ones that you would have written in a memoir, but using them differently. Not just to tell a story about you, poor you, powerful you, whatever it is, but then to use it in a way to structure an offering. And that looks like, here's what I learned after these things. Here are the principles of resilience, of overcoming, of forgiveness, of love, of courage, right? And there's a dozen others, right? Waking up and realizing that I'm here for a purpose, or finding my purpose. Whatever your discoveries were, a memoir leaves them implicit. A good book that will create $100,000 for you makes them explicit. And one of the things I do and love to do is I use the book, The Story Arc, which is this one right here. This is the method I use to do that. And even it's just like calculus, nobody reads a calculus text and takes the test. You got to have a class. This is the method and system. And it's far easier and better when it's done with help and guidance to get it done, because everybody still struggles with, am I doing this right? Do I have something to say? That kind of stuff, the self-doubt and worry. Okay, so here's the truth. Okay, your story's not a timeline. It's not an autobiography. It's not random events. It is the transformation events. Using the story arc and the developmental story matrix, we pick certain events. You might make a list of 50 or 100 events of your life, and then we examine them in a particular way to see which ones really mattered, which ones brought you to the place of resilience or courage or love or forgiveness or growth or believing in yourself or getting over fear or finally standing up and finding your own voice, or whatever the journey that you've been on has revealed to you. And that's what it is. So you get transformation, decisions, lessons, identity. So what we do when I help you do this, that makes you 100,000, is we distill the events of your life into an identity. What has this turned you into? Because you chose it, not because I said so. But when you look at your own life, what has it brought for you and done with you or to you? What have you allowed it to forge out of the fires of the difficulty, adversity, and struggle, and desperation, and betrayal, and whatever it was? So it's a structure of where you started, what things happened, what changed, and what you now know. That arc is monetizable easily, quickly, and in a big way. The trouble is most people don't want to do the work. That's why I created the story arc and the method to help you do this. Your story is worth more than you know, not just in cash in your bank, but in the lives of those that you can serve. Even most people who write books, self-help books that are designed to do what I'm talking about, don't write them very well. People get done reading and go, wow, that's cool. Look at that. Look what they did. And then maybe they think, maybe I could too. But there's no process. There's no structure. There's no help. And so it remains a thing of wonder. And then what comes in our minds is, yeah, they did that. Wow, good for them. But I can't do that because, and then we list a bunch of reasons. Because it's too late, because my timing isn't right, because I got too many things to do, because I got a regular life, I got 2 jobs, I got kids, the list goes on, and so it never actually happens. So the monetization never works. And that's the saddest thing in the world for 2 reasons. One, the people you could help don't get helped. And the second reason is you're leaving money on the table like crazy. So here are the reasons people don't use the story, even when I speak to them and they hear, wow, this is really possible. So they minimize their story. It's not that important. Nobody would listen. I don't care. Never true. But people do it anyway. Self-doubt, worry, self-sabotage. Second reason is they don't organize it So if they write it, it's just a random bunch of events. Maybe it's chronological, maybe it's not. Maybe it's organized by topic or by emotion or by size or impact. And then they don't express it. And even if they do express it, they don't express it powerfully. They're afraid. Are you afraid of claiming your truth? I was talking to somebody yesterday who's very successful and has a powerful story and has written a book about it and has waited 10 years since the book came out and has not turned it into an asset like we talked about when I helped him write the book. Hasn't done it. You know why? Proof. Got to prove something. I don't know. Do I have proof? How do I prove? Your life is the proof. You are not claiming this teaching that I have is going to fix everything that's wrong with everybody everywhere. You're not claiming that. What you're saying is this is the life. These are the experiences. This is what I've learned. This is how it can be organized to help with these situations. And you claim it powerfully and without equivocation and without hesitancy. You're not claiming, neither am I. I've written 24 books to solve every problem known to mankind. I'm offering an opportunity and a solution that I know works and helps and creates power. And you have that too. All right. So you have super value, high value, 100K from your story, but I'll bet you haven't packaged it yet. Do you have a book? Is it a book written to really help with the design I talked about? Have you created products that follow the things you learned that help people with a particular problem or a particular set of problems? Whether they're self-help problems, barriers inside or other things, it doesn't matter. Same structure. If you haven't, here's the place to go. DreamBuildWriteIt.com. DreamBuildWriteIt. That's a challenge. It's going to be by the time this comes out, it's going to be pretty quick. May 11th. Go there right now. DreamBuildWriteIt.com. It doesn't cost anything. Okay? It costs you an hour a day for a week. But if you go, I'm going to show you how to do this. I'm going to teach you and show you. I'm not going to talk about it and then keep things hidden. I'm going to give you everything I can in 5 hours because it's an hour a day for 5 days. And I talk pretty fast and I can give a lot. I will show you how to do this. So the real problem people get when they want to do this is they have no structure, no articulation, and no leverage. The way you get this stuff is to not only write the book and create the asset, but then create leverage. Do you know how to create leverage? You know what a lever is, right? If you want to push a rock over, you can't. It's too heavy. So there's another rock right next to it, a smaller one, and you put a lever under there, and then you go way to the end. And if the lever's really long, you got a lot of leverage, and then you can push a rock over. Archimedes said, give me a lever long enough and a place to stand, and I can move the world. Because a lever multiplies force. Leverage multiplies your force. So here are just a few of the ways. Where you sell your book is really important. Amazon is the stepchild. You got to put your book there, but there's a lot of other ways to do it that create much bigger leverage. Podcast and other show appearances, media appearances, articles, creating a podcast if you want to. All of those things I can teach you how to do because I use them successfully. So I'm not talking about anything that I don't do. And I have taken my books and turned them into $100,000 many times, and I can show you exactly how to do it. So if you want to create authority and income, the book is first. Second is remembering the book is not a product. It's a leverage tool. It's a positioning tool. So the book is first. A product based on the book written a particular way is your leverage tool, and that creates authority, and that brings you to income. Now, there's a whole bunch of ways to create income, and selling books themselves is the least effective way. Selling books makes the least amount of money unless you're J.K. Rowling or Stephen King or James Patterson or Tom Clancy or, whoever writes books that are already blockbusters, bestsellers, and so forth. I'm not saying you can't do that. I personally know several people who make six figures a month from their books. I also know the systems they use. I use them. I will teach you. DreamBuildWriteIt.com. After you get the book that organizes your thinking, clarifies your message, establishes your authority, and opens doors, I get asked to speak a lot at conferences. A lot. Why? I have books. I just got another one. I'm speaking at a great big conference later this year with 1,500 people, 4 days. Why? I have books about the topic. And, I had to submit a proposal and all that, but it was easy because I had the books, I had the outlines, I had it. You can have that. I had somebody reach out to me just the other day. They just got asked by some universities, hey, can you come and teach this that you have? Well, they have a book, but they have no product. So guess what? Kellan, can you help me create the product? Yes. So we're getting started on that right away. We're going to create 2 products for them because it was clear that they needed both. After you get the book and the product and we help you create some leverage, you'll get speaking, you'll get programs. Some can be passive income where you don't even have to deliver them. They just sell. Now you have to do some marketing and put them in the right places, but I can show you how to do that because we do it. Partnerships, JVs, there's all kinds of things. You can create coaching programs if you want to. Some people like the idea of coaching and some don't. But that's some of the ways that your book, your product, and your service can become income and do good in the world. Because here's the fun thing. When you write from your heart, and I want you to hear this, I said earlier, the most powerful gift that we have to the world is the story of our own becoming. It is. When we learn to do something and we talk about it, it's like talking about that thing over there. I can describe it. I can tell a lot about it. I can talk about it powerfully, etc. But it's not the same as when you speak from the depths of your heart about your own lived experience. Because when we learn something, we have to remember it to talk about it. When you speak from the life that you have lived, you talk out of your heart and you don't have to think about anything. You don't have to remember. It carries the ring of power and authenticity. And that's what sells. Authenticity, clarity, truth, purity, no pretending, none of that. And that can be scary, but I can help you get over that because somebody right this minute is waiting. They're waiting for your story of success, of growth, of resilience, of possibility, of getting over fears and doubts and abuse and struggles. I don't care what the struggle has been. And you don't have to be all the way done. Another thing that people do is, well, I'm not finished yet. Nobody's finished. You're not finished till you take your last breath. I'm not finished. I've written 24 books. I got 3 more right now on the drawing board, 5, 6, and 7. They won't be this year. One might. And then other 2 will be next year. And by then I'll have 3 more. And all of them create money. All of them. And yours can too. And I can show you how. All right. So if you've been sitting on something, you've just been sitting there waiting for this powerful stuff to land in your lap. Well, here it is. This is your invitation. If you have a story to share already, yourultimatelifepodcast.com, go get the contact form and get a hold of me. I want to share your story. If you want to share your story or you're stuck in some other way, use the same contact form and get a hold of me. If what I've told you makes you realize you do need to write that book about your own journey, your own discovery, your own learning, your own resilience, go right now. DreamBuildWriteIt.com. Go there. Let me help you learn how to do this. I can't wait to see you there. So remember, a book is not the product. You get the book done and you hold it up. Oh, there it is. I got a book. This is a really powerful book, Living with Purpose and Power. It teaches people how to create themselves as an invincible force. If you want to learn that, there's the book with absolute clear instructions. But the book is not the be-all, end-all. It's the beginning. It's a positioning tool. It's a leverage tool, right? And then the question is, how do you want to leverage it? Do you want to speak? Be a speaker. Do you want to create passive income products where you create products for $97 or $197 or $297 or whatever, and you put them online and they really solve the problem that you've outlined and discussed in your book, and then you sell those. And that doesn't require delivery. Maybe you want to create a group coaching program where you create a community. Maybe you're a community builder. One client that really, really loves building community. They operate better in community. They just love doing that. Okay, then after the book, we're focusing on the best way to get their message out and build the community. Speaking, coaching, passive income programs, community building. There's many ways to get your message in the world. And the most important thing, we need it. I need your message. I can't tell you how blessed I personally have been to help many authors organize their lives, find their stories, find their message, claim a purpose, and then create book, programs, products, speaking, and on and on. I had one lady who was working in one of my programs, and she were halfway through, and she got a speaking gig overseas for, I think it was 5 figures, $8,000 or $10,000 or something. I can't remember exactly, but a lot. And she was so excited. The book wasn't even done yet. She was just talking about it to a group, and the topic and her willingness to share got them so excited. They're like, will you come and speak at our conference? So she did. And there have been others. Another lady I helped do it created a year-long mastermind for her adherents, people that wanted to follow her because of who she was and what she did. And that was well into 5 figures for one membership. And those masterminds have been successful for her. Another created passive income products. I've done a bunch of those also. I've created speaking opportunities for me and for others. So there's all of those ways to turn your story into that $100,000. So what you do with your stories, you've got to start where you start. Describe what happened, how it changed you, what you learned, what you now know, and then organize it in a way that somebody else can follow in your footsteps. And they are hungry, aching, and needing what you have right now. Don't minimize your worth. Don't minimize your story, please. I need it. Others need it. I have been so moved by many of the books that I have read, that I've helped people write as I hear their stories and they come out. And as they come out, I'm like, wow, you really do need to get this in the world. Why? So you make the difference you want and you're not underpaid. So the book is the lever to create the programs, authority, profile, and income. Use that positioning tool. So let's organize your thinking. Let's organize and clarify the message that you have. Let's establish the authority that you already are living. It's not like you got to go do something else. We just have to organize it, and you need to have the courage to choose how you want to do it in the world. Now, you don't have to do everything. You don't have to travel and speak if you don't want to. But you know what? I find this so funny. I ask people, well, I just want to make some money. How do you want to do that? You want to travel? You want to speak? You want to organize a mastermind? You want to sell products? You want to sell coaching? Like, what do you want to do? Wow, I hadn't even thought past that. I just wanted to make some money. Well, you got to have it be a way that you love, the message you love because you lived it. But the method that you use to give it to people has to be something you love, or you won't keep doing it. It'll be a drudge. And so the business design piece is that also so important. All right. So speaking, coaching, programs, partnerships, that's how your story becomes cash in your pocket and a motivational and meaningful force in people's lives. Now, here's what I want you to remember. You're sitting on a gold mine. You're sitting on a $100,000 asset. And that's a minimum. It can be $100,000 a year. I just picked that number because people like to talk about 6 figures. One book. I've done it. I've helped others do it. You can do it too. It's time. You are sitting on something, and you can choose to sit on it, or you can turn it into something. Go right now. Dream it, build it, write it. May 11th. It's a step-by-step process, and here's what we're going to do. I'm going to help you discover how great you are, how loved you are, how much power you already have, the kind of influence you can have. And I don't mean you got to stand up and jump up and down. I happen to be noisy. Some people are really quiet and speak in different ways. You have to just decide what you want to do and then take the steps to do it. The path is laid out. The stones are marked. The guideposts are there. The only decision is, are you willing to share who you are to save someone else days, months, years, decades of work or of heartache or of doubt or of fear or of sorrow? Are you willing to do that? I'll bet the answer's yes. I can't wait to hear your story, because in the challenge, Dream, Build, Write It, I'm going to show you how. And I'm going to talk about the process, not only of writing, but of publishing and of creating products, monetization, how you do that. It's a code that I cracked over time, and I had help also. So remember, your story is not small. It's not unimportant. Maybe you've been treating it that way, but from my own experience, I know that the most fun, the most strategic way to create wealth, impact, and meaning is to use the life you have already lived. That's the key for you to start right this minute, right where you are, and to build your ultimate life.
Never hold back and you'll never ask why. Open your heart and this time around.
Right here, right now. Your opportunity for massive growth is right in front of you. Every episode gives you practical tips and practices that will change everything. If you want to know more, go to KellanFluckigerMedia.com. If you want more free tools, go here, YourUltimateLife.ca. Subscribe. Share.
Stand with your heart in the sky and your feet on the ground.